Bottom of the table, the bottom four are also facing off this weekend. We're probably not expecting a lot of goals from Wolves, West Ham, but the return of Diego Costa is a potential factor here. He hasn't scored many goals. I think since he's left, he's gotten more cards than goals, and he hasn't kicked a competitive ball in about a year now.
He's kicked a few players, though.
He's kicked a few players and a half, but he's been without a club. He was semi-retired, effectively, and because of injuries and concerns at Wolves, he's had to be drafted in. But what are you expecting?
Normal Diego Costa. I think he brings... I love to see him back in the league. I think he's entertaining. He's one of those players that you like playing for your club, but you don't like him anywhere else. He's aggressive. He annoys defenders. He causes defenders to make mistakes, and you know, if he's not scoring, you know, he sets up opportunities for other people. So great to have him back, and I hope he has a good time there.
Again, I have no idea if he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to be involved because from what we gather, his match fitness is well off the pace. But he's had a few weeks to try to acclimatise, and maybe an appearance on the bench. But what do you make of this, Matt?
I would say that you'll see him introduced at some point.
Yeah.
I would say that's certainly the case, and Wolves need it, don't they? Yeah. It's an area that they've been suffering with. I think, you know, they've got good players. I like Podence. I think Jimenez is a good player. Obviously, whether or not you recover from the injury that he had, I think that takes a long time, and he's done incredibly well to get back to the level that he's at. Well,
West Ham need a result, and they're travelling to the London Stadium. You're captain of the side, so both sides need the points here.
Oh, massively. West Ham have had a really poor start by their standards, and that is quite alarming because it's just a bit flat. I've been to one of their games this season and it was really flat with the energy, and that's the one thing that probably elevated them last season. They were operating at, you know, between 8 out of 10 and 9 out of 10 every week in terms of physical performance, application, being aggressive, great at set pieces, hard to play against, and they've really kind of dropped off that. And I think that is their game plan. So getting that energy back, whether or not you can play like that season after season, is going to be interesting to see.
I think for 2 seasons, West Ham have overachieved.
Yeah.
You've alluded to that there, Matt. And I think the signing of Diego Costa at Wolves just highlights how desperate they are for somebody to score them a goal.
Yeah.
You know, if you can't score goals, you're down the bottom of the table. It's as simple as that.
Well, the 2 teams below them are also facing off. Another of your former sides, you hear?
There's a few of them.
There's a few. You're
going to say that a few times.
To be fair, your other side is at top of the table, so it kind of balances itself out. There was expectation or suggestion that both sides could have lost their manager during the international break, Steve Cooper and Brendan Rodgers, but they're both still there. They still have their jobs. How crucial a match would this be, do you think?
It's massive. Massive. I mean, the Nottingham Forest one is a bit of a head-scratcher for me. I mean, what an amazing job he did last season. Took them, what were they, 4th bottom in the Championship or around that kind of area to get promotion, and then what, 20-something new players. I don't know how that works. I don't know how as a manager...
They had no choice, because if you look at the amount of players they have in the squad, there were so many loans last year.
Loans, but as a manager, I don't know how you instill your ethos, philosophy, culture, discipline, all that just in that period with that many new faces. I think it is incredibly tough. So it hasn't surprised me that they've had a rocky start, Nottingham Forest, even though everyone says they've spent a lot of money. But really, you've seen clubs do that before. But if the balance of the new players in and the stability isn't right, it's hard to get results.
Yeah, and all those players that came in, so many of them came in after the start of the season as well, which makes it even more difficult. Excuse me. From you know, the Leicester City viewpoint, clearly they have a financial problem at the club. That's my assessment. When you look at their owners, King Power, Thailand, they own duty-free. For 3 years, there's been nobody going through Thailand. So their business, I think, has struggled financially. I'm not even sure they could afford to sack Brendan Rodgers, really. You know, Fofana's one of your best players, and OK, it was 70 million or whatever it was, you were prepared to sell him to Chelsea. But Leicester needed him, in all honesty. Schmeichel, apparently a big earner, but actually, you know, Kasper Schmeichel was Leicester City Football Club, and they've let him go, I think, for financial reasons as well. It's sad, really. They're in trouble.
What's more expensive, sacking Brendan Rodgers or being relegated from the Premier League?
Well, number one, you've got to afford to be able to do the first bit, haven't you?
Yeah.
That's the truth, and I'm not sure they can. I think he's still got a long time on his contract.
Manager or players?
I honestly think that, yes, the squad's stood still or gone backwards. I think I don't think there's any doubt in that. You've mentioned.
Well, they haven't signed players.
They've not signed a player and they've sold. So in the Premier League, even if you stand still, you go backwards. You always have to be progressing to the next, applying pressure to different positions to squeeze the players you've got. But I look at what they've got and I still think they've got enough. I think that the games that I've seen, I mean, I don't know if you did the Spurs one.
We did. We were in the studio.
And they could have won that game, Leicester, and they've still got good enough
3-2 to
players.
Spurs, it could have gone either way.
Because what's letting them down for me is not being solid enough, not being competitive enough, not defending properly. These are things that for me are like
basics.
Mentality, coaching, organisation. If you put that to their games, they'd win matches. But they're not doing that at the moment.
Just to back it up, I mean, what if I told you this, Lee? The team that's dropped the most points from winning positions is Leicester. It's the Foxes. Does that say anything about the side to you?
Yeah, well, I think it says a couple of things. I think there's a lack of resilience in the team. There's possibly a lack of belief. I think we always talk about a good start to the season because you build on it, and when you do have a couple of bad results, the confidence levels drops, and as you get towards the end of a game, it's difficult to pick yourself back up again. I think there's also maybe in the back of the minds of the players that they haven't strengthened, and it's come from the top, and there's this like, oh, well, we are lacking, and they haven't got the strength in depth to bring people on late in the game to strengthen and to tighten things up in certain positions. So it's a bit of a catch-22 and a bit of a spiral that Leicester are in at the moment. But you would expect someone of Brendan Rodgers' experience and know-how to be able to put that right and to sort of seal things up a little bit defensively and build on clean sheets and go from there.